So here's an interesting article. It was a nightmare. Tourists are sharing the cities they refuse to visit ever again. I was so disappointed by this city, and my expectations weren't even high. Okay, let's see here. I thought it would be a national park. The whole place just felt like a giant shopping mall. Let's see. Las Vegas. I hate Las Vegas so effing much, this person says. Okay, so let's see. Recently, Reddit user You Gourmet Guy posed the question, which city are you not going to visit ever again and why? Here are some of the top voted responses. Marrakesh, Morocco. Let's see why. I heard of scams. Only place I have ever been that I have sworn I'd never go back to. After 2 days of walking around, followed by groups of men and boys trying to touch my wife, who was dressed modestly, with legs and shoulders covered, followed by aggression when either she or I voiced our displeasure with, let's see, with this. We gave up trying to sightsee and spend the rest of our vacation in the hotel. I had this exact experience, not safe for solo female travelers. I have traveled all over the world. Morocco ranks dead effing last as a place I will visit again. 2. Miami, Florida. Wow. Who would think Miami's on this list? I don't need to go back to Miami, or at least to South Beach. My husband and I went last year, and it was a little bit of a nightmare. We always found fun together, so it was still a good vacation, but I'd rather spend money elsewhere. The beaches aren't worth the traffic, and the hotels, restaurants, bars are astonishingly pretentious and expensive for how mediocre most of them are. Yeah. Okay, so I've been to Miami. I think the last time I was in Miami, I think it was in the 1990s. So I guess a lot has changed then. Okay, so I've never been to Marrakesh. I've been to Miami. This is the next one. This one I've been to. Cairo, Egypt. I'm gonna put in my experience after I read this. I have seen everything I wanted to see there and would never return. Tourists are treated like cattle there by those involved in the tourist trade, much to the embarrassment of the many good Egyptian people who live in the city. The pollution, the people asking you for money everywhere you go, the mistreatment of animals. I wish I could say that the historical side of the city makes up for it, but nope. So my experience was that I would be walking and a man would come up talking next to me, or what have you. And this happened more than one. Never a woman. I never had a woman come up to me in Cairo. I mean, it would be nice if I did have an Egyptian woman come up to me and speak to me, but that never happened. Never happened. You see? A man even came up to me and told me I walk like an Egyptian. And I look like an Egyptian. Whatever that means. You remember that song? Walk like an Egyptian. From the 1990s, I think. Walk like an Egyptian. Yeah, that was a song. Walk like an Egyptian. Yes, they do ask you for money. Another thing they do is that if they're trying to sell you something, they block your way. So you have a choice. Either you get in or you turn violent. You know? So as you're walking, picture somebody in front of you. And as you're moving forward, they stand in front of you. If you step to the right, they step to the left, to their left. So that means they're blocking you. If you go the other way, they go the other way. Until finally you say, you know, what the hell? I just buy this stuff from this guy. Get out of here. Another thing too is that they're always going to give you a ride, like on a horse or a camel or something like that. All right? If you go to the Giza area where they have, you know, all these different the tombs and so forth, and the pyramids, the Giza pyramids, you find people there with camels who are to scam you. And you're told that, you know, they try to give you something for free, but it's not free. Because I heard our guy told us they will try to give you something for free. Do not take it, because if you take it, eventually, yeah, they will say it's free. However, I have to feed my camel, so make a donation for the camel. So this is the kind of stuff that goes on over there. Egypt is, at least Cairo, Egypt, can be very annoying. You're walking down the street, somebody has a shop, and he's selling spices and stuff like that. And he stops you and he wants you to come and shop and buy spices. Now, how many people, how many tourists really go out there looking to buy spices? Unless you're into that, you know? If you're a person who's like into exotic spices, yeah, that's one thing. But most people don't have spices on their mind when they go out there. The good thing about it has a lot of historical stuff, but like this writer said here, he said, much to the embarrassment of the many good Egyptian people, and he also mentioned that he wish the other stuff could make up the historical. I wish I could say that the historical side of the city makes up for it, but nope. Also, there are lots of flies. I don't know if they can do anything about that, but flies will be hitting you, you know? You see in some of the poor African countries, even though this is North Africa, where you see little kids who are hungry, who are sick, and you see flies in their faces, flies all over, and it's like they're so weak they can't even hit the fly away. Well, Egypt, at least in Cairo, this is the stuff you run into. Flies, 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 flies everywhere. And scammers everywhere. Men walking around the streets trying to get you to go somewhere or so forth, even though you're not interested. Very, very annoying. Never a woman came up to me to try to get me to go somewhere. maybe that would have been a good reason, right? Who knows what might happen if they did. The only woman I really talked to was a woman like in a hotel, the Egyptian woman. That's the only one. Bradford, England. Never been there. It just doesn't have a lot going for it, unfortunately. The sort of place where when people find out you are from out of town, they ask what you are doing there, but not in a sort of cherry, oh, what are you here for way, but it's seriously, why have you chosen to come here way. That's interesting. 5. Hollywood, California. Hollywood, specifically Hollywood Boulevard, is really janky. And that's janky, that's spelled J-N-K-Y. The whole town kind of smells. And it's just wholly disappointing. Agreed. One was in Hollywood for about 2 minutes before I was ready to go. Filthy, boring, and definitely overrated. Yeah, say hello to Hollywood and Vine. Right? Mobile, Alabama. There was a palpable aura of anger and resentment in that town that I'll never forget. Okay, nothing much to read here. Dubai. This is the place that people say is so great. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Look how beautiful it looks, right? But it's very, very hot. And they treat like migrant workers very poorly. Some die. Go back home in coffins. It features so much about what I don't like about humanity. All money and no substance. It's a very hollow, empty, and superficial place. You know how in Scarface, Tony Montana had stacks of money and gaudy possessions, but was a miserable dude? That's the entire vibe of Dubai. 8. Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah, well, ever since they used to have the Mr. America contest there, I remember going there before they had the casinos. Yeah, that's a long time. I think when I was a teenager, when they had just the boardwalk and the taffy, candy you buy there. That was the famous thing. You go there, you buy a bag of taffy candy. And then came the casinos, and lots of people used to go in there. Atlantic City is just bizarre. It feels like a rundown, smallish city, but it's weirdly dotted with glitzy casinos. It's like Vegas and Scranton got drunk one night and made a really strange baby. Scranton, by the way, is where our current president, Joseph Biden, was born. Scranton, Pennsylvania. And they moved from there to Delaware when they moved. So, chances are he got lucky. If he hadn't moved from when he was a child to Delaware, he probably might have never been United States president. Canberra, Australia. That's the capital of Australia. Canberra. I think that's the way it's pronounced. Canberra. Yeah. I saw a bit of an ugly, drug, and angry youth scene that I never dreamt existed in Australia. Couldn't leave the place fast enough. I couldn't leave the place fast enough. Number 10, Dallas, Texas. Look at Dallas, Texas. Endless subdivisions, strip malls, and mega churches. And the name Metroplex tells you all you need to know about its charm. IMO. I guess, in my opinion, Dallas manages to combine all the worst aspects of all of Texas's major cities in one place. Number 11, Manila of the Philippines made it on the list. Well, that place is kind of complex because Manila used to be worse when I went there like the first time back in 2005. No, yeah, 2005. And last time I was there was 2019. It's much different now, but there used to be so many of the wires. I think maybe still like that in some places. But the electrical wires are like way there hanging and so forth. Tough place. Traffic is literally 24 hours a day. Yep, it's a lot of traffic. I do have a video of traffic in Manila. That thing was coming from Bonifacio City in the night, and there's a lot of traffic. So it took me 4 hours to go 10 miles. Imagine that? 4 hours to go just 10 miles. Manila is easily one of the worst cities I have ever been to. The other parts of the Philippines I visited, however, were some of the most spectacular. People should definitely visit the Philippines. Just get out of Manila ASAP. 12. Las Vegas, Nevada. The crowds, the noise, and the general debauchery were just too much for me. Yeah, I can imagine that. I remember just going down the main street, what they call the Strip, where the double-decker bus runs. You take forever to go down there. There's so many people. The person says, "Thank you. I was there for a work conference, and it was just so not my vibe." To be clear, I am no angel. I enjoy moderate debauchery. My issue with Las Vegas is the wild prices of everything. You are paying New York City prices for a tacky experience. You can get drunk, get ignored by women in the club, and do tons of drugs for a third of the cost in any other major city. Oh, and everyone is allowed to smoke in the casinos. So if you do not smoke, good luck. It's a sinus infection in day 3. Venice, Italy. It is beautiful. It is unique. I was moved by it, but it is also unnecessarily expensive and surrounded by black waters. They stink. It's not practical to get around. You have to walk through the same bridges over and over again to get to different parts of the city. It's on the verge of turning from beautiful old architecture to decaying, unsafe old architecture, and is full of annoying tourists, though I was a tourist myself. Well, few years ago they did write an article about Venice, how the people are so fed up with the cruise ships coming in, they don't want them coming there anymore because they come in, there are too many of them walking around the city. The cruise ships, they don't need to use the hotels in Venice because, you're staying in the cruise ship, so why would you need a hotel? So they're really doing nothing for them, and I think they wanted to charge them a tax or something for any tourist showing up, and then, all the garbage and stuff and water and so forth use. It was just too much for the real people who live in Venice. Kamloops, Canada. Never heard of this place. It's dirty. And whoever designed the roadways had no idea what they were doing. Sounds like they were drunk. Look at the roads, right? Wavy like. Yeah, you can run off the road here. Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Look at Port-au-Prince. Was checking my watch every few minutes, counting down the days and hours until I can leave. It was a scary place where even those who are supposed to protect you are open to attacking, robbing you. Same. Only time I've had bodyguards had to sign a waiver that basically said that whatever happened to me, if I decided to go somewhere without them, was on me. It was so sad. And that was before the 2010 earthquake. That's a shame, isn't it? San Francisco, California. Well, before even reading, I gotta say one thing. I've been there. The year was 1997. I don't know if they changed now, but anyway, let's read first, and then I'll give my opinion. I like to avoid going back to San Francisco if I can. It just makes me sad now. 100% agree. Have visited many times from the 80s to 2010s, and I will never return voluntarily. So much agony and misery in one place set against so much technology and advantage is grotesque. Well, when I was there, the place is overrun by homeless people. I've never seen so many homeless people. So many people in America who apparently been born in this country, and you think you're in Calcutta, India or something, you know? Not that the people look like people from Calcutta, but it's just the whole idea, the kind of begging. You don't expect that in a place like that. Why are these people in America begging? It's like, it's so crazy. You know, you have all these people trying to get over the border, trying to look for work. California is a state with big agriculture industry and all that stuff. And these people are just like wherever tourists are, where you go in the shop. And I remember there was a shop I went into, one of these like convenience store, was run by, there was an Indian man in there, I don't know if he owns it or not. And I was so exasperated, and I asked him, I said, what's wrong with these people? These people are from here. They didn't just come into the country, they're here from here. They're born here. And these people are all over the place begging. Begging. You'd walk into the store and they accost you right in the store. All over. You got some strange characters. Even you go into the McDonald's and some guy asks, can you do me a favor? Can you suck my D? It's like, oh my God. What the hell? You know, it's like you hit the guy, obviously you get into some kind of altercation, end up being arrested. Because, I mean, how can somebody come up to you and ask you a question like that? Can you suck on my D? You know? My goodness. So I said, you know what? This place is not going to see me, just like some people saying here. And I don't get me wrong, San Francisco is a beautiful city. It's hilly, of course. You know, you have to be good if you can walk up the hills. It gets chilly. And I was there in the month of August, 1997. And you know how August is in most of the United States, right? Can be humid and so forth, but not San Francisco. Once it's like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, I had to wear my jacket. It's chilly. That's how it is. Mark Twain's famous comment, the coldest winter I've ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. That's what Mark Twain wrote. Alright, so let's move on to Nassau, the Bahamas. Never been there. It's not too far from Florida. Absolutely horrible. Place is extremely rundown. Locals don't leave you alone and don't take no for an answer. No, I don't want to buy a wooden flute from the 90s. No, I don't want to buy sunglasses from China for $80. IDK, I don't know. Maybe I had a bad experience, but I never go back to the Bahamas, or at least Nassau. Well, there was a sign that said Nassau went funky, right? 18, and finally, Austin, Texas. For those who don't know, Austin is the capital of Texas. Yep. A more liberal city. Which is strange, right? That the seat of the government, the Texas state government, is situated in a liberal city, in a state that's called itself red, a Republican state. Went some years ago to experience the city and nightlife. I'm a pretty outgoing and friendly guy. I couldn't get anyone to give me the time of day. I spent a week going to bars, coffee shops, social events, etc. People would just turn away from me when I said hello or attempted to strike up a conversation. One of the least hospitable, friendly places I've ever been to in my life. 0 to 10 would not recommend. This person says, I grew up in Austin. Somewhere along the way, it went from being a mid-sized city with a cool, laid-back atmosphere to a major city that was cold, corporate, and too crowded. The coolness of Austin went from genuine weirdness, a place where hippies and cowboys coexisted, to a cold corporate playground for smart tech bros. I miss what the city was, but I'm glad I moved elsewhere. Any city you would never return to? LMK in the comments below. Okay, so some people wrote some comments here. So I'm gonna put the link here in the video. So that's interesting. And notice nobody even mentioned India, right? You would think that India, like maybe Mumbai, would be on that list, but it's not. It's not on that list at all. But Manila, Philippines, made it in there because of the pollution and the traffic and so forth. And there are horses too. You find people want to charge you, for horse ride, try to get you to ride if you go out by, what do you call it there, park, Jose Rizal Park, the national hero, Philippine hero, Jose Rizal. There are people with horses there. And they'll try to scam you too. Instead of, like, in some places they have a sign that say, like, an hour ride and the horse is worth so much. I remember a story about an American woman who took a ride there on one of the horses around one of those parks. I think it was in what's that place where this Intramuros, I think. And the guy, she asked how much, and the guy said 100. Okay, so if you're in the Philippines and you ask somebody, well, how much? And they say 100. She's thinking in terms of the Philippine money, the pesos. So 100 pesos sounds reasonable, right? It turns out when times come to pay, no, ma'am, it's 100 US dollars. Okay, so he didn't make himself clear. He never said it was 100 US dollars. He said it was 100. 100. So she assumed it's 100 pesos. 100 pesos would be like $2, and she even gave him a tip too. She was thinking, but then it turns out when she tried to hand him the money, no, ma'am, 100 100 US dollars. So you have to be careful. If you're in countries like in the Philippines or what have you, and somebody offers to give you a carriage horse ride, you better be sure you work out the price, the deal. Now let me just switch to Thailand, because I took some trips to Thailand, when I was there on my own. Took like the buses or what have you. Went up there, certain areas like Ayutthaya, that place with all the different temples and so forth, like the ancient temples. Ayutthaya used to be like the ancient capital of Thailand. And then you have like Kanchanaburi, where they had the War Museum and so forth. And remarkably, in Thailand, they actually had a list of places you can go, like to see different temples, how much they charge you, and so forth, There's a whole list. The man had a list he showed me. And for both places, in Ayutthaya and in Kanchanaburi, where you go to where that train is, you could take that, you could go over that, like railroad pass, right, where the Japanese are trying to get to Burma, Yeah, because the Japanese had occupied Thailand during World War II. And they were building a railroad trying to get from Burma into India, where the British were. But anyway, the point is, so I have to commend that. So in Thailand, they actually have a list. And it shows you what the prices are, and it tells you up front. In the Philippines, you're not going to see something like that, with the people in the street. Unless you go into like a main area or something like that, a park, maybe like the what do you call it, the water park and so forth. That's different. But like people with horses and so forth for rides, no. Good luck in finding a list that lists different prices.